ladies and gentlemen, today is a very, very, very special video, man. My good brother and I have been wanting to do this for a very long time, but it just so happened to come out the way that it did, that the opportunity has presented itself, and now we're going to have the opportunity right in the middle of the Trails in the Sky, the first hype, right before Kai no Kiseki and Trails Through Daybreak 2 officially get released. It is time to look back on our favorite Trails moments, and there is no one on the planet that I would rather have than the good brother himself. My boy, Commodore Laz, how are you doing, man?
What's going on, my brother? Greatly appreciate the invites. You know, it's been a while since you and I have actually sat down and talked about some greatness, and it doesn't get any better than that than talking about Trails, Kiseki, whatever you want to call it. I think for the both of us, we call it Ichiban because, you know, it's just top.
That's right.
You know, at that point, right? But I greatly appreciate the invite, man. Looking forward to talking about Trails, our favorite moments in the series, you know, a series that means a lot to both you and I, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. Like you were just alluding to, in regards to it meaning a lot to both of us. For just in case anybody out there doesn't know, when I first got into Trails, I was spamming Laz endlessly from Sky FC up until I caught up with Trails into Reverie, at the time known as Hajimari no Kiseki. Mm-hmm. He was the individual who I
that is in fact a shoot
most. Yeah, like if there's anyone that was in tune with the Trails journey and the major reason why I enjoyed that journey so much, it was thanks to the good brothers Laz and Shadow and Ragi, who I was spamming like every single day, and Kisei as well.
Oh,
like I was spamming my boys on a regular basis. So I appreciate you. To let some ground rules out there for anybody who is going to be listening to this. Obviously, there's going to be some people that would like to listen to this, but they are currently catching up to the series. Have no worries there. What we're going to be doing is, before each and every single one of our picks, we're going to name drop the game that we're about to talk about. So as a quick example, if I say that my number 10 is from like Cold Steel 4, then anybody who hasn't played Cold Steel 4 yet can just skip that. And if like the next one has like a one from Trails in the Sky first chapter and you've already finished that game, then you can definitely listen to that section. We want to make this as an engaging discussion as possible by discussing spoilerific events, because obviously it's a moments thing and we need to discuss what took place and how it resonated with us. But we also don't want to spoil anyone who's not catching up to the journey. And so no worries on getting spoiled on a game that you have not gotten to yet. We will most certainly be discussing the events of that game. And then whenever we get to the other game, we'll be discussing whatever happens there, as well as what led up to it. So that's another good segue too. If you started the series from Cold Steel 1, and like you're making your way back, for example, to Sky FC, be careful because there may be spoilers there. Because for example, if we're going to be talking about like a character arc that has spanned multiple games, we might need to go back and discuss certain plot points from other games beforehand before we get to like what took place in that one. And so just keep an eye out if you have not completed every single game up until that point in the Trails series. So like as a quick example there, like let's just say we talk about Cold Steel 1 and there's something in parallel with Cold Steel 1 that like we need to discuss, which comes directly like before that, then it's like, oh, hold on, man. Like obviously before that we'll say these are spoilers for up to Trails of Cold Steel or whatever game we're talking about. And so just keep an eye out on that. But besides that, I'm definitely extremely excited for this list. Please let me know your lists in the comment section down below. I'm sure that there's going, because of how incredible of a series Trails is and the amounts of different moments that could resonate with individuals, undoubtedly every single list is going to be different. And so I can't wait to see what all of you end up putting as your favorites. And like I said, even if you're not caught up to the series, tell me where you're currently at and what are your favorite moments so far. And for those of you who are caught up, then tell me your favorite moments down in the comments down below. While on the same line of thought of being caught up, we are only going to be discussing moments from up to the end of Trails Through Daybreak, which is the current localized catch-up point. Obviously, Daybreak 2 has already had its Japanese release and is about to be officially released early 2025, and Kai no Kiseki is about to come out soon. But because those have not been officially localized yet, I just wanted to keep it to the localized entries. And so these will be, of course, up to Trails Through Daybreak. We're going to be doing a top 10, and before we get into it, I really wanted to dive into a little bit of our history through Trails, just in case anybody is listening to this that has not either heard like our general thoughts and or how we got into the series. But Laz, man, you got into it before I did. You were one of the major reasons why I got into the series in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into our favorite moments, talk to me a little bit about your history and how that journey was like for you.
I mean, going back to what was it, the fall 2019? I was honestly just looking to see if there's anything that was out there, like in terms of like a long running game series to kind of get into. And I was looking through like even the visual novels as well. But I came across Trails through our good friend Ragi. You know, I know for years he was talking about it and saying, you know, it's one of those series that you just have to experience yourself. It's one of the best adventure stories. And, you know, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I saw it was on sale on Steam. I think it was like $30 for like all 3 games or something. So I'm like, what could go wrong, right? You know, the best $30 spent or the worst, right? And, you know, I got into playing FC, you know, the first game. I was enjoying what I was feeling of the ambience of it. The vibes were just everywhere in the great place, you know, just following Estelle and Joshua and their journey as they're becoming bracers and, you know, just seeing them go on these day-to-day duties and stuff. And then, you know, some unexpected little thing happens and then, you know, their adventures go from that to something else completely different. And I'm enjoying this whole thing, you know, the characters we get to meet along the way that end up becoming crew, family, even so. Mm-hmm. And then you get hit with that one moment in the epilogue, which may possibly come in as a surprise in the moments list afterwards. But that moment led to me saying, oh my god, I see the hype here. And then it gets topped by something else that happens in that epilogue moment. So from there, I was just like, you know what? I am locked in. I am here for this journey. I played through SC. Loved it. Still one of my favorites in the series. I played the third right after. And the third for me is one of those games that I feel gets better with every passing game in the series. And it's one of those you could look back on and say, like, yo, thank God this exists. Because without it, I don't know if the series could reach the heights it's going to without the, you know, the platform jump that the third gives it. And just from there, man, going from Crossbell to Erebonia to where we currently are right now in Calvary, at least in the localized parts. It's been one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had when it comes to gaming. It's, to me, the One Piece of JRPGs. I know apparently some people think it's an insult calling it that, but if One Piece is like the king of kings, I mean, what else am I supposed to call Trails? Like, what else am I supposed to call it, man? It's the GOAT for that reason. So, yeah, it's meant the absolute world to me, and it's easily a Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to call it, man. First ballot Hall of Famer, you know, Trails Ichiban, dude.
Mm-hmm. Trails Ichiban, man. Very, very, very well said, and obviously similar on my end. Shout out to Ragi, got both of us into the peak. I remember both Ragi and Shadow were the individuals who were like telling me, man, this is the One Piece of JRPGs. Like you'll really rock with this. Mm-hmm. And obviously, as a massive One Piece fan who's always on the lookout for those long-running series, like both you and I went through Detective Conan, we've gone through Hajime no Ippo, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a lot of these long-running series that also mean something to us. But with Trails, especially going through FC, I really understood what they were talking about in regards to the way the world reacts to the events that the protagonists are doing. They're impacting everything around them, and it's just sensational in the way that it does it. And so even from early on, I was like, man, I really dig this. But just like you, when the moment that game ends until I caught up is probably the greatest catch-up experience I've ever had in my entire life.
I don't think there's anything that comes close aside from One Piece, like generally speaking. Yeah. Like there's been so many series that you and I have a connection with that I say, you know, it's amazing, it's incredible. But when I think of the Zenith, it's those two, and it just feels like they're the perfect connection to compare.
Right, and it's just like, man, like by the time that you start getting to those later games and you're like really, really connected to all these characters, it's something truly special, man. Like I think about it all the time where I'm like, I'm so glad that this was the game that helped me through that COVID period where the world was kind of turning into chaos.
And I played that right before COVID too, so like by the time I got done with it, it's like, I'm waiting until I think the news of Hajimari got announced in that December in 2019, and it was just like, oh my god, like I gotta wait, and then the world's just in ruin, but I know the Hajimari's gonna have my back at least, right? So
that's right.
So it's crazy to see like where we came from there to where the series is now, man. I mean, it's blown up in popularity even further than where it was before, and the demand of it is so big to the point that we have a remake for FC. You know, man. And I never thought that they would come.
It looks so good.
It does. It looks incredible. And the fact that they're keeping to the Xseed spreadsheet, so we know that we're going to get the Estelle, like, all-time one-liners and all that coming in there. It's like, the treasure chests and stuff. Like, come on. Like exactly. How can you not ask for anything more than that, man? Like,
yeah, man. I'm telling you right now, next year is going to be the year of me getting people into my favorites, man. Like, I've heard for years, One Piece is too long, One Piece is too long, One Piece is too long, and same thing, Trails is too long. And I understand the trail because One Piece, it's sort of like a test of patience. You can pay $6, whatever it is, on Crunchyroll and watch One Piece or read it on wherever it is, and it'll be really, really cheap. Trails, on the other hand, catch it on the wrong day, you're paying like $500 for the whole series. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's
the greatest $500 you're ever going to spend. Like
exactly. So like I understand the Trails one more than the One Piece one, but for both of them, I'm like, yo, no excuses. You can have a brand new starting point next year with both of those entries. So extremely excited for that. Trails in the Sky, the first. That is for anyone out there who has not gotten a series yet. Coming in 2025 for the greatness. But speaking of our journey, it is time for us to go through our favorites. Once again, this is a celebration of the entire story up until this point, and obviously a series that means a lot to both of us. And so, once again, I want to reiterate this: if any of these picks resonate with you in the comments section, and or you want to provide your own favorites, please do so, because it's not often that we get together and discuss our favorite Trails things, and so whenever we do, I would love to get as many opinions on that as possible. And so if any of these picks also resonate with you and also impact you the same way it does to both of us, and or you have your own picks that we don't mention, that you're like, man, this one really resonated with me, definitely put that in the comment section down below, because then we'll be like, we're idiots for not including that, you know what I mean? But yeah, so do you have any honorable mentions, Laz? I do have like 3 honorable mentions.
I mean, I could give you like 3 pages worth of honorable mentions. Like, I should praise to everybody who's listening to this right now, man. Like, trying to actually form a top 10 favorites list or moments right now for Trails is just, it is tough, because you're leaving out moments that can easily be in the top 5, top 3, could be the number 1. And that's just how it shows you how deep this series is when it comes to the landmarks, the moments that really cement this series and why it's the King of Kings. So, I mean, to give you, I got a few actually right here, and I know I'm gonna regret leaving them off the 10, but one that does definitely come to mind. This comes from Trails in the Sky SC. The second chapter, and if I'm just gonna say the name, you'll know what I mean immediately. But Oliver Rees Arnor.
Let's go! I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, sir.
I shall take the reins. Now, for the context of that is very obvious there for those who had played it. We had known for a little bit in FC that something was up with Olivier. We didn't know what it was exactly. We didn't know if he was an agent. We didn't know if he was like a spy. We didn't know if he was like, a troll, which he is. But, but when you get that moment in SC where it looks like the military might of both Libero and Erbonia is about to hit the worst possible point in time, again, coming off the 100-Day War, and you see this man, Olivier, pull up in the most finest of garbs and just say, yo, like, I got it, and basically revealing that he is the heir to the throne. It's like, it's just one of the coolest moments for me ever. It's like, this guy that I'm like, he's got to be the biggest rat of all time, and he's royalty. I did not even see that coming there a mile away, and it's a moment that always resonates with me all the time with him, man. Just what a beast, bro.
Yeah, man. That's a fantastic honorable mention, bro. See, that's another one I forgot to put on my list.
And I'm angry it's an honorable mention. I'm angry it's an honorable mention because it's not good, bro. Like,
right. That also reminds me, because Laz and I were talking about this off air. So Laz and I have allowed each other like 2 or 3 cheats to include either multiple moments in a single entry, and or to like substitute a moment as well. Because there's going to be some stuff that maybe one of us will bring up. We're like, oh, snap. We're like, hold up. I got to have that somewhere on the list. So we've definitely allowed those cheating points as well. But, man, that is a fantastic pick. So do you have any others before I go into mine?
Let's see. The other ones that I have right here, I mean, this one's a tough one to leave out because I feel like it's one of the most emotional moments in the entire story. But this comes from Trails to Zero. With Ren learning the truth about her parents. I was like, do I want to put this in the 10 or not? Because there's some moments I don't want to leave out. But just that moment of the Hayworths basically revealing that even after having Colin, they still had hope that maybe one day they'll get their kid back. And then being told by Colin that, you know, the big purple hair sister came in and saved me because I decided to go chase a butterfly. And just getting that the backstory being revealed to the SSS, and just her realizing that moment, like, yo, like, thank God I did not smoke them when I saw them again after with Lo. Right? So it's just one of those like crazy moments where you're like, I understand if you want to take revenge on them, but the fact that she was able to hear them out just shows that despite all the craziness that Ren went through, she was able to still have a moment right there where she's like, you know what? I heard what's going on. I see it. I understand it. I'm a spirit, and hopefully, you know, I'm not gonna spoil just later on, but you know, you hope for good things between all four parties together again.
Right. Another fantastic pick, though, for that one. We will be talking about it later. at some point. At some point within this video, we will be discussing that.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And then I'm saying the last one to do, because, oh man, it's very tough to leave it off. But the very first time we hear Heed My Call.
Heed My Call.
Oh, okay, so that's also an honorable mention for me. So I can talk about that one too.
yes, dude. Like, because it's obvious, it's like, you know, with Cold Steel... Oh, so I should preface this as well. This is Cold Steel 1. So the Heed My Call, that moment, because obviously with Cold Steel, we see the direction the story's kind of getting into. I'm going to call it the Gundams, but I know it's the Divine Knights.
That's right.
But getting to see the moment in time where, you know, everything backs against the wall, you know, the opposition has, you know, Class 7 in dire straits, and the moment has to come right here where Reen has to say the words that could, you know, turn this whole thing around. The remontada, the Champions League comeback of comebacks. That man says, Heed My Call, and Valimar pulls up the Ashen Knight. Like, it's just one of the coolest things ever, man. Like, imagine being able to have that rawness and swag to pull out your own knight, a Gundam, you know, just to rock with you, man. Like, just get the chills still thinking about it.
Same, and exact same thing on my end. Once again, from Cold Steel 1, when the first time we hear Heed My Call Valimar, this is an unforgettable moment for me. That was one of those, like, really surprising moments. And just to preface this a little bit, right before this takes place, we get an incredible moment in the classroom where Vita directly talks to the player. It's one of those, like, bone
on the radio
moments.
and stuff. Yes.
And it leads from that into what's happening with, like, Osborne and C, and you're like, what in the Flagnards is going on? But then it leads to this, and it's like that entire time that we were going to the old schoolhouse and doing all those missions there, like, that's what this was for. And so when you get the awakening and you see where this is all leading off to, which is an incredible cliffhanger, it's like, man, just like you said earlier, it's Gundams and Trails, bro. It's like, I can't help but love it.
And easily, what you're just saying right now, too, like, for those listening, like, he just stated right now 3 moments back to back that just happened, and you're supposed to make a top 10 list. Like, just think about that's only in one game. That's just in one game, folks. So that just shows you how crazy this series truly is, where you can only take one of possibly 1,000 that could have happened in that one span of time.
That's right. Oh man, dude. So for my other 2 honorable mentions, the first one is from Trails from Zero. This was so close to making the list. But once again, from Trails from Zero, it is the auction house sequence. From Trails from Zero.
My god! No, baby, I just remembered.
Yeah, dude. This one was so hard to keep off the list because I am a sucker for these types of sections in any of my stories. But because of the way this one starts with the find me, and you're like,
Yes.
wait, what's going on? Who just said that? Like, what's going on?
I can't believe
bro?
I nearly forgot it. Oh, you brought up that story.
It's like it's like you have this incredible mystery going off. Everything's been building to this moment throughout the course of the game so far, and then obviously you get introduced to one of the most important characters in the entire arc, which is Kia.
Yes.
But then after that, you're like, wait a minute, it's a date section too, like in Final Fantasy VII. What's going on?
Man,
So like, you get to pick the character you want to be with, and then like you and this other individual are the bodyguards, and it just causes for like one of the coolest moments in the game, and it sucked leaving it off because, like I said, but like Laz said earlier, this is like a legendary game franchise with so many great moments. So the auction house sequence almost made it. And,
my God.
And it hurts. It hurts not having it, but hurting just as much. This one is from Trails into Reverie. This one hurt a lot, not having on the list. This is a personal one. As somebody who really loves Cold Steel 3, I felt like this was always the end to that game. And that is the Ash door from Trails into Reverie. Ash's door in Trails into Reverie culminates his character arc, but it also brings like the end of the new Class 7's journey. And it is a really, really powerful door where we see Ash come into his own, coming to terms with his past that continues to catch up to him. But while this is all going on in the background, he's going all over the school just like Reen did, to help everybody out as much as, even though he doesn't want to, he still ends up doing it because that's just the kind of guy that he is. And throughout the entire thing, it's the mystery of, is Ash gonna leave school? Is he gonna become a bracer? What is he gonna be? And in actuality, becomes the president, and he's leading the new Class 7 into the next generation. And he's making not only his classmates proud, his family proud, but also his instructor proud. And we get one of my favorite moments in that game. Right then and there with Reen and Ash, as like he pretty much acknowledges them for all the growth that he has had, and it's sort of, especially when Start Line plays at the end of that door, it feels like the end of Cold Steel 3, like the actual end of Cold Steel 3, and so just a massive shout out to that one. That was one that was originally on my list, but I was like, I can leave it as an honorable mention because I already have a Trails into Reverie pick that's going to be there later on, so I had to give that one a shout out. Yeah, but now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the top 10. And Laz, man, start us off, baby, Laz. Number 10 on your list, bro. The Royal Rumble is starting now, man.
All right, man. It's time. Top 10. We started off with number 10. Man, this was like, again, I say like my 2 to 10 was like my revolving door because so many can happen and switch places and everything. But my number 10 is coming from Trails in the Sky SC. It's something that is very synonymous with me. It's something that I constantly think about actually every other day because it's probably one of the greatest promos I have ever heard, and it came at a point in time where it needed to be said to Joshua Bright from Cassius Bright, and it's the promo regarding bonds and what exactly does a bond mean. And it's one of those, man, especially when you hear the soundtrack itself playing in the background and everything for it. I believe it was the Hamel track that was playing in the back while this was going on, and Cassius just explains to Joshua like how much you need to value bonds because they come in different places and times. Doesn't matter how far away you are from somebody, doesn't matter if your differences have changed, your beliefs have changed, at some point in time you're going to come back together, and whether you're going to reconcile, whether you're going to fight it out and stuff, you will always be tied by those bonds. And I just love the fact that the person saying that is the one who understands what such bonds are in Cassius Bright. From a man that was part of the military, who had a loving wife, loving daughter, lost that loving wife after the events will happen in the 100-Day War, went on to become a bracer to make sure that he does everything he possibly can to protect his daughter, and then going on and being, attempted assassination by this 11-year-old boy at the time in Joshua, and saying, nah, I'm going to take this kid into my family, I'm going to make him my son, I'm going to show him the ways. And even despite him going off into his Sasuke Uchiha arc and do what he had to go and do, the fact that that man just smacked him down one time and just told him, yo, but you still got a front key to the door, bro. It's just like,
that's right.
Oh my god, bro. Yeah, Cassius Bright, bro. I mean, the red hair Shanks. of
That's
Trails.
right.
Like, literally, man.
Yep.
Like, you could probably tell me that guy's part of the Figarland family. I'm completely fine with that. Like, Cassius Bright, just special stuff. That guy has a word, words of wisdom, a way of words, whatever you want to call it. It's just that promo. I'll literally play it any other day, and I'm just like, yo, go father.
Yeah, dude, that is a fantastic pick and very Laz. Ever since I've known you, that's a moment that has always resonated with you.
Always.
And like, in regards to your comparison there with Shanks, that moment has always resonated with me for like similar like the Whitebeard Squard thing, where you have the foolish son. I mean, obviously Joshua didn't do anything nearly as bad as Squard did, but it's still like the like my foolish son, I still love you though.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like you have the keys to the castle whenever the time comes. Just know, like I'll be there for you as I always have been. Like it's such a fantastic moment, man. Cassius, when he does anything similar to Shanks,
oh yes, bro,
it is peak
time
fiction,
stops,
no matter
time
what.
Stops all
yeah,
time. Yeah, exactly.
Time stops, bro.
Oh,
he has that aura.
He really does.
Man,
and there's very few that carry that kind of aura, so shout out to Cassius.
Yeah, shout out to Cassius Bright. That's a fantastic pick, brother. Staying in the Sky trilogy. My number 10 is the moment that made me obsessed with Trails. It is the epilogue of Trails in the Sky, first chapter. Specifically, the moment of moments there at the end, the very, very end of the game. I just want to preface this with this. Going into this series, like I said, I was really enjoying it. But one thing that is in every single one of my stories that end up being like all-time favorites is that they have to have something that really differentiates them from the others on my list while giving me similar feelings that others do. And while going through the final stretch of Trails in the Sky FC, it reminded me of whenever I was going through Arlong Park for the first time in One Piece. And it also reminded me of whenever I was going through, like, another example would be, like, in Detective Conan, when you reach, like, I forgot the name of that case, but it's like the Kaito Kid one whenever he comes back and they're in the school. And then you have, like, it ends with Ran and Shinichi. It's a super, super godly early case. But it gave me, like, one of those feelings of, like, man, this truly feels like something special is brewing here. But in particular, it's the stretch from the moment that Weissman reveals himself, and we get that classic Joshua sprite, getting the reveal of what that all was, and then as that goes down, the tone shifts, and then we get the rest of the stuff that takes place after that with Estelle and Joshua, and leading into the iconic ending of the first game, which, like I said before and like Laz said earlier, from then on out, lock in. I'm obsessed, baby. From then on, most, like I always say with Trails, if it resonates with you, it resonates with you. And if it does, then this is probably going to be the moment where, like, okay, that's it. Like, everything else to the side, it's time for nothing but Trails from this point forward. But like I said before, this reveal hit me so hard because I just wasn't expecting it. Considering how good the finale had been up until that point, and considering I got everything I wanted up until it too, like I had the Cassius greatness, I had the Alan Richard greatness, shout out to my guy Alan Richard, and all of that stuff that was going off there, and I knew we were building something great for the next game. I was really excited to see more from the silver-haired man, shout out to my guy, but like, when this happened, that's when I knew, like, okay, Trails knows they could have stopped here, but because they gave you this extra step, they know, like, they understand storytelling. They know that just when you think you've had enough, let's give them a little more. And that little more ended up being the moment that got so many of us hooked into the series in what was originally supposed to be just one game in FC and SC. And I'm so glad that they split them and created this amazing cliffhanger that lives on in our hearts even still to this day. And so just massive shout out to FC's cliffhanger. That is the Arlong Park of this series. Like, once you're strapped in, you're locked in. You know what I mean? So shout out to Shout out to FC. I'm sure, or I'm assuming that might be on your list, but that's my number 10.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's definitely tough, bro. Whenever you hit me that hard, I was like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna have to get some of these in the chamber to come on out. But it is a fantastic one, definitely. And I feel like honestly, I'd be very shocked to find out from anybody who has played FC if they were if there was a moment prior to that got them locked in. Because like I would be very shocked because usually when I talk to anybody that gets into the series, it's like that's the moment, and if not that moment, what comes up after it with Estelle, like the reveal, the flashback, and then the parting moment after from it as well. It's like because those happen coincide back to back. It's just like, oh my god, bro, I need to know what's going on. Like literally, that is part one Naruto. Like it really is.
No, 100%. Yeah, like that's actually a really good comparison. Like it really felt like the end of part 1 Naruto, which is why, like I said, it felt like something so familiar yet so unique to the series. And man, that final shot, bro, when the music starts playing and you're sitting there like empty. You're like, bro, what just happened? Like, I went on this whole journey with these two characters. It's like Johnny and Gyro in the middle of Steel Ball Run, like having a split off, and you're like, no, what is going on?
Dude. You know?
Oh man, great stuff, man. But Laz, man, number 9, brother, talk to me, bro.
So number 9, we're gonna be going one game ahead. We're saying the same game. We're still saying the same game. So in Trails in the Sky SC. This moment shook me to my absolute core, probably on the same level, I would say, as the Wiseman stuff, but it's what happens to Wiseman at the very end of the game. And that is my priest, my Pope-to-be, hopefully, in Kevin Graham, absolutely smoking George Wiseman with the salt pail. Now, this moment is so wow for me because in similar fashion to Olivier, a lot of these characters that are roaming about doing their own thing, right? We had just taken for face value. Kevin's just this guy that goes around to different churches, to read stories to these kids, and they go off and just do whatever. And then you just think, okay, fine, he's just another troll. Fair enough, bro. This is what the series is gonna offer me. I'll gladly take it. But then you get hit by the end of the game. The arc is going up in kaput. Everyone's trying to leave and stuff, and you're wondering where the hell is Kevin. And Wiseman, as he's trying to get out, he gets confronted by the priest himself, and we end up finding out not only is this guy a lot more crazier than we imagined, he is one of the high-ranking guys of Dominion.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, he gets told afterwards that he has the authorization to exterminate heretics because he's the heretic hunter. And just the moment where we struggled with Joshua, with Estelle, with all of them, trying to be Wiseman. And this guy goes full Future Trunks against Mecha Frieza. and it's just like I'm still shook to this day by the fact that actually happened, where this guy just hits him with a crossbow and it's a Warida. It's over. This man turns to stone, and just the absolute the fear in Wiseman saying that if you're allowed to do this, you are psychotic. And he's like, yeah, that's what I signed up for, And just even with the wording to what he says to Joshua, it's like, you're allowed to leave the life that you were leading. I can't. Like, I'm in this for life. It's just like, when I hear that, bro, I was just like, yo, Kevin, I need to know what's happening next. And then we have the third. so yeah, that's why at number 9 there, Kevin smoking Wiseman.
Dude, that is such a fantastic pick. One additional note there in regards to that sequence, it really was like a wrestling moment where you finish Mania, and then like the top guy, then he cashes in. It's Seth Rollins cashing in. Wait a minute, he's running out. It's literally WrestleMania 31, bro. That is exactly what this is.
It actually is. Wow.
It's like, hold on, he's coming in, he's cashing in.
Get to 1, 2, 3. We got a new champion. Like literally, dude. Shout out to Kev, bro. Like, what a beast.
That's one of the all-time greats, bro. That's my guy, man. I love Kevin Graham. So, for my number 9, man, this was so tough. My number 9 and 8, I had a really, really tough time choosing where to put, what to put where, because I love both of these moments so much. But I ultimately went with my number 9 is from Trails of Cold Steel 3. It is a fantastic, fantastic moment. And I'm looking forward to talking about the moment that comes after, because it's sort of linked to this a little bit. But man, it's that the end of chapter 2 when Lloyd does the fist bump and you look out the window.
In the train, yeah, dude.
In the train, bro.
Oh my god.
Bro, listen, man. So, that entire game up until that point is like building up the legend of Estelle and Lloyd. So, like, you're hearing the legends of, okay, Ouroboros is doing everything they can to keep Estelle and them out of here, so that they don't. This is similar to what they did with Cassius in SC. So, like, at this point in time, they're trying to keep Estelle out of here, and then they've literally like done all of that to Lloyd too, where he can't do anything. So like they've gone out of their way to ensure that nothing interrupts their plans. And so with Yuna involved, obviously, and those are her heroes, this becomes very heartbreaking. So we go to Crossbell, and coming off of greatness that transpired before, Reen also has a lot of baggage here too. So for us to finish that incredible chapter with so many questions, that in that same chapter we also have like the Azure Siegfried reveal, and you're like, what in the Flagnards is going on? Who is that guy? Why does he look like my boy? You know, it's like like who is that guy? So it's like all of that is cooking in the background, and then you go to the train, and Toa's like, yo, everybody look out, and there is Kia, Adios, and Lloyd, just like at the end of Trails to Azure, and it's like, oh my god, bro. What is going on? And they have a fist bump of legends. Well, never mind. They have a fist bump of legends that like shook me to my core. I loved this scene. This is one of the major reasons why I love this series, is when like the protagonists are able to have like some sort of interaction with each other. And this was one of the first ones where I was like, oh man, they know what they're doing. Like, I love this so much. A huge honorable mention in the same game, because I'll be talking about this game a little later, but not this. But it came right before this moment, and that is when they visit Hamel in chapter 1. This is something that we had been building up towards for a very long time. It's like visiting O'Hara, you know what I mean? Like, it really is. You get to see this place that is in legend, that is home to one of the most tragic backstories in the series, and we didn't know if we were going to be there. And so when that music hits and you finally get to see the place, and then it starts resonating with some of the characters that are there in Ash, and it's like, wait, what's going on here, bro? And so it's like they're building mysteries while also paying homage to those who came in the past in Louve. And you see the way that everyone, members of Ouroboros, the Jaegers, and Class 7, they all take a knee and they're like, no, this is that guy. Like, we cannot defile his grave. And they go through the respectful thing of putting flowers on Louve's grave before they box. I was like, that's how you know Louve was him. That's my boy, man. And so that's definitely my number 9, man. Shout out to Cold Steel 3, bro. That's a masterful game.
Incredible stuff, yeah. Okay,
yeah, man,
so
number
we
8.
got to number 8. This one's gonna be a bit more of the recency times and stuff. And this is coming from Daybreak 1. Because
nice.
I could have gone for happening the first time. I could have happening for the second time. But I'm going to go for the last time this happens. And that is Van transforming into Grendel for the very last time before, the Beyond Passage, the Demon Lord Hall, all of that. I was really close to putting the second time, because literally the second time when they're in the the forest and they're fighting Aragog and they're helping out Maxime and stuff, I just love the whole ambience of, say that a lot in the word and stuff. But the whole thing of him, I'll bear it all, the nightmare and everything. But him in that moment realizing, for himself, because obviously we get the answers afterwards of what he should have really done. But him willing to take that burden, become the Grendel, and actually going into the the Beyond and keeping himself locked up there with the core and all that, just to protect, like him basically saying, it can only help me for a few centuries, but I know at the very least it's going to keep your futures intact. And it's like one of those self-sacrifices that we had so many of them across the series, but the one that really just stuck out, just like, this is his first game and he's on that type of energy. And it just shows you how much he actually does care for the people. For a guy who's supposed to be on the straight and narrow, the gray line, he can see the white, see the black, but he's always going to be in that gray line. For him to actually still put his people's ahead of himself. And you know, it's a key theme with Trails characters that they will never put themselves over anyone else, but he does it in such a way after where you're like, yo, I'm willing to go into that beyond. I don't care how many McBurns I gotta go and fight, bro. I'm bringing that brother home. Like, they were just gonna do that.
That's right.
So yeah, shout out to Van, the transformation the last time into Grendel in Daybreak 1.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later as a connection to something else in that game, but that is a masterful moment, brother. That is, oh man, I love what you said, and like, this is Van's first game, and they're already going this hard on him. That's exactly how I felt, dude. Shout out to my boy Van Arkride, man. That is a goat of goats right there. My number 8. Ah, man, dude. So my number 8 is from Trails of Cold Steel 2. Dude, man, this was probably I think it's my second in regards to like playtime of me like in a single sitting playing for a very very long prolonged period of time. I had that day off work, and I woke up and started the finale of Trails of Cold Steel 2, and I think it was from like 7 a.m. until like midnight. Basically, I played that entire last section of that game. But there was one particular section around like 4 o'clock where I was yelling. Like I might have the screenshots still. I might have the video I sent Laz.
Yeah,
when you see the words divertisement pull up in Cold Steel 2, and you switch over to Lloyd and Risha in the Geofront with the Geofront theme. The Trails from Zero soundtrack is going crazy. You hear Get Over the Barrier is the battle theme. Then it goes to Inevitable Struggle. And then it doesn't end there. Reen and Altina show up. We had just finished one of the greatest finales up until that point. I thought the game was over. I was like, yo, Crow just died. And I'm including that within here as well. I'm cheating. Crow just died. We just got the Reen Osborne reveal. We also had one of the greatest boss battles to date in that Reen and Crow facing off against the Vermilion Knight in that incredible Valimar and Ordine boss battle. I was like, oh, it's peak fiction. So like, we come off of that high. We get the incredible twist, emotional moment there with Crow. I think the game is over. And then we switch over to Crossbell, and at this point, like, Crossbell is still, like, my heart and soul, right? So, like, I can't wait to see them again. And lo and behold, I get that it's like when Oda switched over to Shanks in the middle of Egghead. I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is nuts! So like, we get an amazing moment with Lloyd versus Reen. It's so powerful because you're seeing it from the opposite perspective, and like, I'm feeling so conflicted because obviously I know how much Reen is going through right now, especially after the reveal. So it's like, what are they cooking there? What's going on? But I'm so hyped to be able to play as Lloyd again, where I'm like, okay, I can put that to the side for now. Like, this is goated. Like, this is peak. So shout out to the Lloyd and Risha combo. That always goes hard. But the fact that was our first time seeing them in 3D, our first time seeing Crossbell in 3D, it was just like the perfect mix of all of that greatness. And a massive shout out to the epilogue of Cold Steel 2 as well. Absolutely adore that Reverie corridor, and the actual end to the game never fails to make me tear up. And so all love to that final stretch in Cold Steel 2, but with a focus on divertisement, because I was just so caught off guard. And like I said, I played this from 7 a.m. that day until midnight, or I think a little past midnight. But that was when I was like losing my sanity. I was like, yo, this is peak fiction, bro. So yeah, man, that's my number 8, dude. What a great moment.
So that's listen, bro, you can't go wrong with that, bro. Cold Steel 2's finale, just that whole stretch like you just said there, man, it's just absolutely legendary. Just, you know, the goodbyes and stuff of Class 7s, these part ways, and you know, going into what we see after in Cold Steel 3, man, just bro, like, that's definitely something you take the day off for. You got to regroup and then lock in for the next game. That's right. That's right.
But
my number 7, oh my god. So we're gonna go into. So I feel like I've been so stuck in the Sky Saga because there's been so much greatness. But I go into the third for this one. Okay. And it's one that really resonates with me so much because it's like, you know, it's a goodbye of goodbyes and all of that, right? And I'm talking about specifically the Sky cast saying goodbye as they leave the cube and go their separate ways. It's because obviously, you know, if for those who played the series, the exact group of people that are there in that moment in time and stuff. That's probably the last time we actually get to see them all together then, and realizing that for these 3 games that we got to spend with them, and knowing that this is the last time, like, we locked in together. We were at one point in time enemies, allies, weren't sure what we were, but by the very end of it, it's like, you know, we came together, handled business that we need to do, and then now we're going to go off and continue our travels. And we will never forget, of course, that this moment in time brought us here to get stuff done, to, you know, learn a little bit about the way, you know, the Ariel and just you know, the spirit to be and stuff that we were with and stuff and everything, and just seeing how, you know, the insight into, you know, these doors and passages, and just seeing all the stuff that, you know, we've had hidden away in the past, or, you know, into things into possibly the future and all that. But just getting that moment of their goodbye, it was like saying goodbye to like one part of a story. Like if I'm saying goodbye to like the Straw Hats, or like just to somebody, whatever, right, that I've been with for a long time, it really resonated with me there. And I can't remember exactly what the name of the song is that's playing in it, but every time I hear that track, I just keep thinking back to them, you know, going up the stairs and they're saying their goodbyes, and Ren just telling Estelle, like, you know, don't go follow me, don't do this and that, which, you know, for Daybreak. And then learning exactly that after those events, Vaughn is the reason for why Ren was able to go back to Crossbell and then link up with the Brights and become family. It's just like, you see that event itself, and then how it attaches to one thing and it actually attaches to another thing after. It just, what a proper goodbye that we got there with the Skycast, and shout out to them, because without them, I don't know if we would talk about the series in the way that we do now, especially, you know, with the SSS, with Class 7, with the Van Arkwright office and stuff. You know, so it all started with Sky's cast, and the goodbye, just incredible.
100%. Dude, that is a phenomenal pick, dude. The name of the song is "To Meet Again Someday."
Yes,
that
To Meet Again Someday. Absolutely,
yeah.
Oh man,
yeah, bro, dude, it's fantastic stuff. Actually, mine is also from Sky the Third. My number 7, also from Trails in the Sky the Third, right before that legendary moment. My pick is Kevin and Rias versus Rufina. Leading up to this, when you're going through Gehenna and Kevin is forced to go and face every single individual that he's ever had to put down, and you're hearing the cries, you're hearing the screams. You've already seen how much this guy's had to go through. But what I love so much about this moment in particular is that it captures the beauty of Trails, where even though it's obviously an extremely well-written sequence that is extremely powerful, but the fact that Rias is here for him this time, and she helps him pull the trigger, that visual has always stood out to me, because finally Kevin does not have to take someone out by himself, as you just talked about earlier with Weissman. He had to do that by himself. He's had to do all of the other ones by pulling the trigger himself. This time Rias was like, let me help you do it. And to take out the enemy that hurt him the most, to take out Rufina, they came together after both of their journeys, after everything that both of them had gone through. The final battle ends with the two of them shooting the shot to Rufina that is obviously a huge tearjerker, but it's so powerful because it's both of their journeys culminating in that one moment when it's as simple as, I am here for you because I know you would also be there for me. It has that iconic human echo CG there that's just so good. But that's anytime I think back to Sky the Third after Stardor 15, it's always this, where I'm man, that visual has always stood out to me because it's so powerful and it's so simple. It's like Kondo coming into the office one day when they were planning on Sky the Third and being like, yeah, we're gonna Kevin's character arc is this. When the game starts, he's by himself. When the game ends, we put him with someone else. And that's literally all that happened. But because of the way they executed it and the amount of emotional impact behind it and the backstory for both of them, knowing how hard it must have been for both of them to take out Rufina, where it was like, okay, no, we're both going to pull the trigger here. It's just, I love that moment. I love Kevin Graham. I love Rias. And that's why this is number 7. Sky the Third is such a good game, dude.
Especially knowing the fact of what he was going through, because how much the regret that he felt in the moment in time losing Rufina, and then of course not being able to tell Reese exactly how he truly felt about it. The characters that lock away those kind of emotions and try to hold it down themselves, and then having to be confronted by it, but knowing that they're not going to be alone, they're going to have that person with them that is sharing in that moment too. It's just, oh man, like Kevin and Reese, just incredible. And I know there was one quote that now that you reminded me of that scene, because the exact moment I know had to have come after the arrow, but it's when that man says, because for every hardship there'll be just as much joy waiting for me. And that's literally been my Discord info like quote since literally I finished as the third. So it's like
that's true.
That will always live for me. So like with Kevin, man, listen, that is my priest, my pope to be, and he deserves the absolute best. And with Rias, listen, man, if the bread shops are not open, if the bakery's not open an hour before opening, bro, we got problems. So
that's right. Yo, if at any point in any part of the land the bread is not on point for Rias, we got hands. We got hands.
Yeah, bro. I was about to give her a moment, honestly, in this 10 from Azure of her just, just at the pageant and stuff, waiting to eat food. Like, literally, how can that not be a golden moment? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, man. Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Oh, no, for sure, bro. But, yeah, so now we're at number 6. And
yes, sir.
Now this is where it gets even tougher and tougher now. Because this one realistically should be in the 5. It really should be in the 5.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some moments where it's like this. It's Laz core, but then I also think it's Trails core. My number 6 comes from Cold Steel 4. It comes in the epilogue. You know it. I know it. We all know it, man. It's the reveal of Anokata. Dude, listen. So going back to like even the third, the conversation and stuff that the oh my god, the name is this what happens when you take out the hard drive of Trails out of my mind, and I'm definitely the Aguas,
yes.
And just the conversation that they have afterwards after the demise of Low, and the switchings of the rankings and all that, and we get this ominous voice and all that at the time, which is insane, right? Because I had the voices and stuff for it. There were people who had played Trails that didn't have the voices, so they didn't know if they were talking to a person, didn't know if they were talking to an alien, didn't know if they were talking to Kermit the Frog. They didn't know what they were talking to. So when you get this moment at the very end of the game of Cold Steel 4, and this person pulls up, and an absolute beauty to the point where you don't even get to see the top, like the face or whatever. You're almost like you're seeing Kishoff from Monogatari, like type of aura and stuff, man. And knowing that the only way it gets even crazier from that moment is getting to see more of her. After a certain game, follows it after, but just getting to see the Grandmaster finally unveiled after all this time, the person that runs Ouroboros, runs this syndicate, this criminal organization that has been known throughout the lands, and knowing that now that the biggest part of the closing stage of the puzzle that is Trails has come to light, we're going to get to see what they're capable of, what they are. It's just that moment, just like, the final boss. This is, to me, is like literally the Anokata of Detective Conan. This is literally getting M in One Piece. It's on that level. And knowing that we're about to get soon more information on this individual in the time to come, I mean, oh my god, man, what a beast. What a beast.
Yeah, dude, that's a fantastic pick. That's actually not on my list. I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, out of all the ones that I could have been like, I could have at the very least shouted it out earlier. That is one of the most iconic moments for me. Because for the exact same reasons you just mentioned, Sky the Third, the build up is there. Obviously, you and I are massive fans of Detective Conan and all these other series that have like organizational leaders that you can't wait to see more of, and the fact that everyone in the series respects the Grandmaster in the way they do, it's like, yo, the hype behind this character is insane. So when we actually get to see them in the very last moment of the first half of the story, it's kind of like them telling you, yo, it's about to go down, man, but this is your reward for the journey so far, and it is so special. I'm so glad you brought that up, dude. Fantastic seed. Fantastic seed. My number 6, Laz alluded to it earlier. My number 6 is the final sequence in Trails Through Daybreak. Legend of Heroes, Trails Through Daybreak. It was so tough for me because Chapter 5, I feel like overall as a chapter, It's probably my favorite chapter in the game, just because of how recon core it is. It's real shonen. It's it allows you, based on your choices, to there's so much replay value there. You could either play with Shizuna or Elaine or Risha. Like, there's so many different ways you could go about it. But it's that Gerard stuff. It's the Van flashback stuff. It's so good. Like, I love Chapter 5. But bro, when you get to the end of the game, once again, going back to Sky FC, just when you think it can't get any better, Daybreak, for its first game, it legit could have ended at the end of Chapter 5, and I would have been like, 10 out of 10 game. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they had to go a step further. And they solidified Van as an all-timer by having that self-sacrificial moment where the rest of the squad has to come in to break him out of that. And it's so powerful because you've built the bonds with these characters throughout the entire course of the story. It was very Be Forever Yorozuya to me. And I loved it so much for that, where all of the characters and everything that they learned in the journey and all the bonds they've made so far came into fruition in that moment in time, through not only the way in which the battle took place, but even the build up to it, where they all came together in order to solidify the resolve to actually go on about it. It was just a really powerful sequence I was not expecting. Like, normally you would get that type of stuff from the second game in each series, so to get all of that in the final chapter was kind of crazy. And it was a really memorable moment, because when that chapter starts, and I'm a huge Shizuna fan, to start off with Shizuna and Van, I was like, oh god, what's going on? And then for that to lead where that went to, which was the end of that insanity, and then from that moment onwards, when Van comes back to them, I was tearing up so hard, where I was like, this is my family. Just like the Liberal Squad and the SSS and both Class 7s are my family, and the Picnic Squad, these are my family too. Like, I love these characters. And so you talked about it earlier, but I wanted to put some more shine on it, because it truly is a magnificent moment, and one of those things from Calvard where they were like, yeah, we still got it, like, no worries, even though this is the first game coming off of an insane high, we're still we're still Trails. This entire game has been incredible, with so many incredible moments, but we're gonna finish it off on a bang, just like you expect the Trails games to finish off on bangs. And so that is my number 6. I absolutely love that entire final sequence from Trails Through Daybreak.
Lovely. I mean, as you said, man, like, to Daybreak 1, especially because we were going into the Calvard time of the story and everything, and all this, we're getting closer and closer to the east and how much it's been hyped up. But knowing that we got to get through Calvard first, and we're always wondering, like, how this squad that we're about to get into, how they're going to match up with, like I said, going with the Skycast, going with the SSS, going with Class 7. Right. How will they match up? And it's so crazy to me that I still, off that one game alone, they've already reached those heights. So for them to reach those heights, and knowing that we have Daybreak 2 and Kai to go through, it's like they have a legitimate shot at the top spot off the strength of this. So yeah, it's just like, and especially as you say in the moments too, with the sacrifice, and then saying, no, like, we built these bonds as they are. You are not leaving here without, especially knowing with Agnes as well. There's no chance that she was allowing that to happen anytime soon. So shout out to her.
She was so good in that
leading
chapter,
the front.
Bro.
Yes, bro.
Yes, sir.
Because I know they always have the thing where it's like, the relationship stuff with her and Vaughn, but it's like, that's still her man. It's like that's her, like, a brother to her and stuff. So it's like, you're not gonna go and just allow that man to just say Owari da. Like, there's no Owari, there's no da. You're coming home.
Right. It sort of reminded me of like the Juna stuff, right? Where like after what happened to Reen, like Juna took the reins and was like, no, we're not letting that happen. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, and she was the one who took the charge. That's the same thing that happened with Agnes. And so, man, shout out to that game, dude. What a fantastic game, man. Shout out to Trails Through Daybreak, baby. But yeah, Laz, bro, we're going into the hardest part of the list for both of us. The top 5, baby. Holy fly.
The top 5. It's time. I mean, this
it's
is where it becomes tough. It does, bro. It really becomes tough here, because like, there's so many that are Laz core, and there's definitely a lot that could end up, vying for the spots, but I have to go with the ones that, when I think of these 5, these are the moments that are my cherished moments of the story. My number 5, and we're going back to Trails and Sky SC for this. I feel like, having 3 in from the same game in the top 10 just shows you how god tier this one is. But I gotta go with the fight of all fights. I gotta go with the fight in the Arc, the 5-star classic. Hell, it might actually break the Meltzer scale itself, man. We're talking about the 2 even if they're not related by blood, but God damn it, they are like brothers to each other, man. They put on a slobber knocker of a battle, a war, just a coming of age fight to the battle of whatever you want to call it, man. Just Low versus Joshua, like just
peak fiction.
Dude, that fight I will never forget, bro. The Silver Will, oh my god, the sequence of the speed blitzing, the assurance of the fact that I'm gonna stand on business. Like this was Joshua telling the streets, I am standing on business, bro. I'm not gonna wallow away and allow the world to pass me by and just accept things as they are. Nah, I am gonna handle business, but to do that, I gotta overcome my past. I gotta overcome those that were shielding me the entire time. I gotta become a shield. I gotta become the sword. But I gotta surpass the sword that is love. And just their fight was so good. You could say what you want. We had a dusty finish. That low through. Listen, bro. What I care about the most is that there's 7 stars on that match. Yep. Dave Meltzer said, yeah. It was incredible, fantastic. And that's all I need. Realistically, that's all I need, bro. The hands.
That's all we need,
again,
bro.
It's all we needed, brother. Like that fight to me, it's still up there. I mean, there's definitely been other fights too that go into the next stratosphere. I know one I can easily throw right now. And Cold Steel 2 being McBurn versus Victor.
Right.
And it's like, you have those easy, other options you have for your top fights and stuff. But when I think of my favorite fight, and it still resonates with me that deeply after all this time, after all these games, Low versus Joshua on the Arc. I mean, listen, bro, you might as well just call it like, Libero Mania, because that's basically what that whole thing was, dude. Like, oh my god, Classico.
El Clasico, bro. Like you said, Dave Meltzer would definitely have given that at minimum a 6.5.
Absolutely,
minimum.
Bro. Absolutely, bro.
That was they tore the house down at the Tokyo Dome. Like, it was, God, that's
a match of the year in any era in that entire story. Like the ancient civilization would look at that and say, "Nani kore? 5-star, 5-star." Like that's all they would say. That's literally all they would say.
That's all they would have said, bro. It doesn't matter if it was all Japan or the F. Like it did not matter.
That's a match that you watch. You start shadowboxing in your room, bro. Like this is
that's
what
right.
It's about.
Like I gotta make it myself.
Do the solo Sokoa and just start punching it in the air and stuff, bro. Like that's what it is, man.
Legit.
Roman business.
That's such a great pick, bro. Staying with Trails in the Sky SC. Also happened within that game. This just goes to show how incredible that game is, man. Yeah. Another scene from that magnificent game is the scene, man. The beach scene between Estelle and Joshua.
Oh yeah.
This Great one for me feels like the Luffy putting the hat on Nami's head of like, I'm a fan forever moment. This is because obviously, right, the entire game is building towards this. They're meeting. Whenever they meet on the ship, we're like, holy sweet mother, Flag Nurse is actually happening. But when it lands and we get this moment on the beach, and you see that everything that Estelle has gone through up until this point, and everything that Joshua's come up has gone through up until this point, culminates here with the two of them having their most personal and magnificent moment in the story up until that point. I also want to give a massive shout out to another moment that happens at the very end of the game, where Estelle and Joshua see the entire world crumbling around them. They've pretty much given up. Like they've already won. Everything's crumbling, but they're like, you know what? If we die here, at least we die together. And and it's a really powerful moment before Cassius comes in on the big winged dragon of Ra. An incredible sequence. But going back to the beach scene, that really was, because once again, right, with these long running stories, they all have a the common through line for me with all of them is they have to peak again. And so with the peak of the end of the first game, I was like, okay, this is the setup. Now how are they going to pay it off? And to know the payoff to me is 5 spots higher than the setup is all I need to know for me to put Trails as like an all-time series. I had already loved Estelle before this, but it was this moment where I was like, oh no, she's an all-timer. Like, oh no, she's definitely an all-timer. Only she could have saved him in this moment. And when she finally brings him back, it's a masterclass. So special and one of my personal favorite emotional payoffs in the series so far. Of course, like I said, the end of the game, the actual end of the game, is super, super special as well. But I feel like the beach scene is like when I think of Trails in the Sky SC, this is the first scene that comes to mind for me, where I just, like, it's one of those, like, if Trails had a Mount Rushmore of iconic moments, I feel like I'd put this one in that first spot of like George Washington's head. I'd be like, okay, this is where I fell in love. It was this moment right here. So, yeah, shout out to the beach scene, one all-timer, and if Dave Meltzer ever did a scale for like emotional moments, this one would have got a 10-star for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
it would have broken the scale.
You might actually hear him cry for the first time talking about a match. Like, it just...
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
But yeah, that's my number 5, dude.
So, yeah, so there's number 5. Number 4 now. So, you're going to see a reoccurring theme with the individual in this, because they're probably going to occupy, I'm going to say, 3 of the 4 in the top 4. I probably might tell you that's my goats and stuff. But my number 4 comes from Trails of Azure. And it's in conjunction with 2 moments that happen together, because without one, you don't get the other. And you need that one to have the other. And that's Lloyd parting ways with Guy in the little dream sequence before reuniting with Kia. And, you know, it's crazy because you go back and you were bringing up the auction with Kia, and I was just thinking, oh my god, man. Like, I just remember where I was, you know, fighting for my life, trying to get this damn emulator thingy job before the Geofront came out to get this thing to work, and just finally be able to have that moment where Lloyd's able to make peace with himself, with Guy, after everything that happened, and knowing that he's got his friends, he's got his family, and most importantly now, he got a daughter that he got to take care of and all that, and knowing that he's made that peace, is like, I can actually let go of that part of my life I've let sink in and hurt me, and, you know, kill some of my self-esteem. And it's something that I've always resonated with, is when these characters don't feel like they deserve to be happy or deserve, you know, to be able to move on with things, because they're so stuck in the ways of that's been keeping them down. But once they had that moment with Guy where it's like, you know, I could have accepted, I could have just said, no, I want my brother back. You know what I mean? I want him back, but it's going to come at the cost of everything that we've ever done this entire journey. I didn't want no regrets. So the fact that he was able to make peace with that, allow Guy to move on with his life after into the, you know, into the heavens, you know, wait for Cecil, hopefully in due time. Or Cecil brings him back, who knows. But getting that, and then with him reuniting with Kia, and obviously understanding that Kia didn't mean for a lot of this to happen. You know, of course, she was done with these experiments and stuff with the DG cult, and saying, nah, listen, bro, I'm upset at you for leaving the house without telling me, but you just stole my daughter. So, like, just that's just seeing proud father Lloyd Bannings in the flesh there in Azure, and then him carrying his daughter out of there and stuff. Just, oh my god, bro, like, just, you're gonna hear it many times from me, but Lloyd Bannings is the GOAT. Like, just the undeniable GOAT, bro. Like, you know, my Tom Foot god. Like, oh man, shout out to Crossbell's finest.
Yes, sir. Dude, as you were talking about that, I was just reliving it all in my head, and I just kept thinking of that soundtrack that plays at the end of the game. That incredible soundtrack that, I just kept imagining it both in the Guy scene and with the Kia scene, because, and we did so much to save her, man. Like, that was our Annie's lobby, bro. Like,
it really was.
Lloyd
That is
Bannings.
honestly the best way to explain. Like, you could say, like, for every part of the game, you're gonna connect with something. You know, we talked about earlier with the end of FC being a Naruto 1, or, you know, even right now with, like, Annie's lobby, you'll always have something that you have experienced before. They could connect with us and say, yo, like, if they're reaching those heights, man, then it's real cinema.
That's right. Yeah, I couldn't have said any better myself, man. That's a fantastic number 4. My number 4 comes from the game before. Mine is from Trails from Zero. And this is, I think, where Trails became like all-time material for me. Obviously, up until this point, I had really loved the first 3 games. But similar to what I said between FC and SC, I wanted to know if they could do it again. Whereas, like, the Sky trilogy was kind of like that FC ending, where I was like, okay, they've done it once. Now can they peak again? And for me to see my biggest weak point in any story, which is when you combine short-term storytelling with long-term storytelling to create something truly special. You get my favorite moment from Trails from Zero. My top 4 has not changed since I've caught up. And this moment is like where Trails went from like being a favorite, like, oh, I really dig this, like I love this a lot, to, oh man, like this is actually competing with like Metal Gear and my other favorites on my list. It's we've already caught you. It's when Estelle and Joshua finally catch up to Ren at the end of the game, and Potter Martyr puts Ren down, and they have the I caught you moment that always makes me tear up anytime that I go back and see it. The build up of 3 games leading up to this, where in SC obviously we're introduced to Ren, and we see everything that she's gone through as a character. But then when we get to Sky the Third, we truly see what this character has gone through, and it's sort of all 4 of these. I'm technically cheating because I'm including like certain things that connect to each other. But Stardor 15 truly showed us like not just everything this character went through, but how much we want this character to be happy after that. To actually have like once we see Stardor 15 and then we see the end of Sky the Third, where Estelle and Joshua promise her a happy future as long as she as willingly accepts, and then they're gonna continue to chase after her until adulthood. You truly want her to be happy, and so throughout the course of the entirety of Trails from Zero, like you brought up earlier, with the original family and the Hayworths, and it's like she'd gone through so much and refuses to to take part in, and even though she wants to so badly, but for the other individuals that love her so much, to the point to where she admitted as well as she loved them too in Sky the Third, but it's like that. Yeah. I can't be with you guys. For even Potter Martyr to be like, nah, you can't get away this time. Joshua has a line here that always makes me cry. It's Joshua's like, even though it may be selfish of us, and you're more. I'm paraphrasing here, but he was like, you're more than like whatever you want to do. I know that it's we shouldn't have the right to want to take you away from your actual family, but we really don't care about that. Like, we want you to be with us, Ren. Like, we want to be your family. That junk hits me every single time, and that's whenever Potter Martyr puts her down. And we get the Estelle legendary caught you sequence, and Ren just absolutely loses it. The rest of the SSS react to this as individuals, and I felt so much for Tio, because obviously Tio went through something similar. Yeah. That Ren had gone through in Paradise in her own way with DG Colt. So when Tio really says like, "I'm happy for you," it came from a personal place, because it was what happened with the SSS and her as well, where the SSS and Guy helped her get through all of that stuff. And so for her to see Ren, someone that had also gone through a lot of this, to have her moment with her newfound family was so powerful. And this is when Trails showcase that they're capable of patient, long-term storytelling, paying off in ways that I couldn't even imagine, while also setting things up for the future with the very same storyline. And so this was the moment where I was like, okay, no, Trails, you got me. Like, at the end of FC, I was like, yeah, I love this series. Let's see where it goes from here. SC, I was like, oh man, I really love this. Sky the Third, I was like, okay, they did it once, can they do it again? Trails from Zero, not just this moment, but the entire game, I was like, oh no, I really love this franchise. This is my jam. Yeah. And so when you reach the end of this game and you get that I caught you moment, like I said, I cry every time I watch it and or play through it, but it's such a powerful scene. And I that's my number 4, man. Come on, bro. The Bright family reunion, dog. Like, come
exactly,
on, dude.
It's just so perfect. And then again the extensions afterwards with the Hayworths, but knowing that, like, as much, in a perfect world you would want her to be with the Hayworths, but the fact that she actually found her real family, and at the end of the day she got both of them. So did she really lose in any regard? No, she won twice. Right. So, shout out to Ren. She deserves the absolute best. That's someone that you're willing to go and fight demigods and whatever for, bro. There's a lot of characters you will, but 2 times as hard it would be for Ren. So shout out to her.
Shout out to her, man.
My number 3. So this is where, top 3, man. Top 3. Top
This is tough, bro.
I gotta shed light on the Chancellor.
Let's go.
And I'm gonna go to Cold Steel 4 for this. This is very easy. I could have gone to another game, but I want to save that other game's moment for what's to come. It is probably one of the most hype moments. It has 3 letters, and that's all you need to know how hype they are. Yes, Your Majesty. I am talking about Osborne versus everyone. That's all you need. That's all you need, bro. Yo, literally getting through this gauntlet of Ouroboros and going through his groups and everything. And after getting through McBurn, you think, how else can I get to the next level? And it's Osborne. Like, it's literally just Osborne. The man that has been touted as, like, you know, the problem, the monster in the shadows and all that. The time has come. You finally are going up against this man that had cheated through death, who survived it, you know, and now poses as the biggest threat in the entire world. Not just of Ereboni, not Calvert, not Crossbow, just the entire world. And it's got to come down to his own son, his own flesh and blood, and his Nakama going out there and having to box this dude in his full glory, in the majestic roar. Like, that theme will always live in my spirit every time I go back and relive that fight. And just the fact that he was watching me the entire time, I couldn't be upset about it. I just have to be in awe. I'm just like, yo, this guy is the truth. And then when you think you've beat him in his regular form, he hop in the Gundam. He hop in the Divine Knight. He says, yo, I want to run the ones with my son. And it's just like, oh my God. And getting that whole thing to lead up to the goodbye between Reen and Osborne, bro. Like, to say you get a 10-star classic and then probably like the goodbye of all goodbyes. You're talking about, you just gave that match and then you hit with a Hall of Fame, you know, goodbye speech and stuff, bro. It's just like, you know, Osborne, man, like, he's the only type of character that I can think at that time that commands a little army. Like, when they say you need to send war tanks after me, Osborne fits that description. You know, McBurn fits that description. But for how much this guy was hyped up since the very first moments he walked through the doors of Grancel Castle and just commanded this respect about him, you knew that if you ever had to throw hands with him, and that time comes, you're in for a classic. And that classic goes down in Cold Steel 4, Osborne versus everyone. It's just, to me, still one of the greatest fights, if not still to me, the greatest fight in the entire story. And it lives up to its hype and more. Shout out to my Chancellor.
Dude, shout out to the Chancellor, bro. That's my boy, man. Yo, Osborne has, like, I think it's tough to say who has the most aura in the series, but he has like top 3 aura. He has like top 3 aura, bro. Like,
really
Osborne's
does,
aura is so nuts, man. From the moment that we first meet him in Sky the Third, up until where he meets his end at the end of Cold Steel 4, it truly is like he always commands the screen. It's such a powerful character, man. I love him. He's a generational antagonist. That's my guy.
Bro, and the fact that that guy is voiced by Joji Nakata. I mean, if you know the Fate series with Kiriko Tomine, and Fate means a lot to me. Having that dude, like the priest, as my Chancellor with that legendary voice. Oh my God, bro. Like, you know, it just doesn't get any more raw than that. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Osborne.
That's a great pick, dude. Holy flagnards, man. That was a great pick. My number 3 is 2 moments that weave into each other, and they are from Trails to Azure. I love this game with every fiber in my being. We are now, I mean, with the last pick, we were hitting like all-timers. If I were to make a list of like my top 10 favorite moments of all time, all of my 3 are on there. Like all my top 3 for sure. Probably number 4 as well. I'm talking like in all of literature. Like, bro, this number 3, now we're getting into the hype stuff, dude. Going back to my boy Lloyd flipping baddies, man. Oh, man. The first moment I'm going to talk about before we get into the other one is the prison break with Lloyd and Garcia. Kisama!
気が咎めるな今更か 俺を殴ってくれとか言い出しやがった時は土地狂ったかと思ったが
Oh yes, bro. Yes.
No, listen, bro. From the moment that an inevitable struggle starts playing in that sequence until the end of Fragments is some of the greatest stuff you will ever experience in your entire life. When Lloyd is like, yo, you may break my arms and legs, but I'm not gonna stop moving, man. When he's in the forest by himself and he's escaping, oh my god, bro. Lloyd Bannings, dude. Bro. It is, without question, like, one of the single greatest, not only from a character standpoint, but straight up hype. Like, dude, I don't know if I've ever felt like my adrenaline rush in the way that I felt it here, bro. That joke was so hype, dude. I was like, nah, man. Bro. Lloyd Bannings is that guy, dude.
Because it's like the way you experience that moment, it literally is the impel down of Trails.
Yes.
Like the breakaway and stuff. And it's like, you think like, you're going to go towards like, the sad parts that comes after breaking that impel down. But this is what really kicks off the remontada, regathering everybody else together and stuff. And then, especially, we talk about in that moment too, bro, when Zeit, when you get the truth about him and you see this big ass wolf, you're like, what in the hell am I looking at? It's like, yo, that's my dog.
That's my dog, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And he pulls up, like hop out the he's like Bugatti, bro. Like, you know what it is? Like, that man just pull up and say, yo, I got you. And like, bro, man. So I just love the fact too as well. I'm remembering the guy's name with the mafioso
Garcia.
With Garcia when he's working with him to try and get out and stuff. And I love the fact of how the tacticals that come from it too, where he fakes like, oh, he died and stuff, and then it's like he used that to be able to escape afterwards, and then you see this man just go out there just boxing everybody in the cells and all that just to escape. Oh my god, man. Like Lloyd, bro, listen, like if you were to do that like an anime, if we ever got proper Trails anime, I think it's like one of the scenes I would look forward to the most seeing.
Me too.
Come out in real time, man. Just seeing this guy with wielding tonfas with just bare hands. This grown man style, bro. Oh my god.
100%, dude. Yeah, that prison break, dude. Like, anytime I think back to Trails, or like to anything that gets the adrenaline running, I'm like, I always compare everything to that. Where I'm like, dude, that was crazy. I'll never forget where I was and how I was spamming you guys in the chat. Where I was like, oh my god, this is hype. Like, oh, this is so good. But yeah, that's really like I'd always loved Lloyd, but that was when I was like, just like with Estelle earlier, like, okay, this guy's an all-timer. Like, yeah, that's my boy. But Trails' series took, they'd already taken hype to the next level. They'd already taken emotions to the next level. Now I want to talk about the other level with the other moment that connects to this one for me. So going into the finale of Azure, I could have picked a multitude of moments. You talked about some earlier. I could have talked about a few others, like the Arya and Rod fight I loved so much. But connecting to the prison break and Lloyd, there is the other moment that I believe is the craziest plot twist that I may have ever seen in any video game, barring Final Fantasy VII. Like it's this two of FF7 versus this, and I still have to think about which one I think is more crazy. But man, when you get to the end of that game, and of the end of Trails to Azure, and you find out that in the prologue of Zero, you actually died at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, man.
And that at the end, that was Kia reversing everything, reversing time, and like in that timeline, you were able to meet Ren and Joshua and Estelle, and that's why you were able to take out Joachim.
Yes.
And dude, that was one of the like I said, that might be the craziest twist I've ever seen. Where I was like, I was just sitting there in front of the station, being like, bro, there's no way this is real. There's no way that's the reason why this is called Trails from Zero.
Yeah,
there's no way.
It all started from zero. Yeah, that it all started from zero.
And it's like, when I'll never forget it. There's a sequence where they're all like seeing these flashing images, and then you see the beginning of Zero, and you're like, wait, why are they showing this? And then it immediately does like a hard cut over to Lloyd on the bus, or I'm sorry, on the train when the first game starts, and you're like, there's no way.
Yeah, man.
And it's like it's like that hard, like, there's no way they actually did that. And the fact that they planned all of that out, the fact that it hits that much harder, because when you look back at the end of Trails from Zero, the moment that they leave the fight with Joachim and they go outside, the first person they run into is Kia running at them crying, being like, I'm so glad you guys are okay. And we didn't understand why she felt so emotional at the time.
And now
But going back on it now, we're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And so to represent that wonderful game, Trails to Azure, here at number 3. The Prison Break, which represents Trails at like absolute max hype, and one of the greatest plot twists of all time in that incredible final sequence there. It's just, man, what a masterful video game, dude. I love Trails to Azure so much. That's my number 3, dog.
And especially, like, I love how, like, when you talked about that too, because, you know, going back to what I was saying earlier with the stuff with, you know, Ren and in Daybreak 1, I should say, with when you get the reveal afterwards with Vaughn and Ren and how they knew each other after the events of the queue, knowing that because of that moment there with Vaughn and Ren, like, sending her to Crossbell, if that not had happened, we were losing the SSS. Because without Ren reconnecting afterwards with the group and all that, with Joshua and with Estelle, that doesn't happen, and we just lost the main cast. So just showing like how that, like, it takes many games after to get that fact out from Kondo and the group at Nihon Falcon, but for that to actually be implemented and just shows you just how important it is. Like, bro, if there's anything you can take from Trails, is that it's a good thing to actually converse with people, talk with them, whether you like them or not, because you just never know what one conversation could change the entire ball game of what is to come before or after the events that are taking place. So yeah, man. Oh my god, that is a really, really, really good one. I was just thinking, like, I didn't know how you would paraphrase or word it, but you literally just said it to perfection. So shout out to you, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Like,
my god,
bro, it's just Ao no Kiseki, man. Like, how did they put that game on the PSP, bro?
I don't know. I don't know how I have to go through an emulator for this one, bro. And like that was, I mean, listen, bro, it was 10 out of 10 experience regardless. But
oh, for sure.
Sticking to Azure, going with the number 2, and this is the most me core of me core of me core, bro. Like, and I love when they handle romance to its absolute peak, because I feel like that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. When, you know, when you take away the choices, when you take away all that, when you actually get down to the real business, the meat and potatoes, when it's the ones that you know makes the most sense of what the story is going for, you know cinema is coming up. And the greatest definition of that comes in Trails of Azure, atop the Merkaba, and more specifically on Wazi's ship, when you get the bonding event, the concluding bonding event of Mr. Bannings, Miss McDowell. We're talking Lloyd and Ellie's bonding event. Bro, man. And the fact that this all starts, like, obviously you took the whole relationship from zero when they met and everything, the rooftop enjoyments that they had together and everything, you know, going back to the IBC, you know, just before they're about to go off and fight Joachim and all that, and just having their conversation and getting her, you know, Ellie understanding Lloyd about the stuff with her brother, and, you know, saying, you know, I'm gonna be there for you, King. And, you know, we thought we were gonna get that moment until, you know, the announcer comes up and says no, and then, you know, bro, listen, we're on this ship. There is no, you know, attention. Like, there's none of that's happening there, bro. Getting to see the two of them finally just pour their hearts out to one another, and, you know, Lloyd especially being able to actually openly and tell this girl that, like, you know, since the very first day I've loved her. And, you know, just from her talking, my heart goes crazy. You know, just from just knowing that she's about to say a word, I'm already knee sliding. You know what I mean? Like, this right. means more to him, bro. That means more than a trophy. And I can tell you right now, bro, he got the ultimate trophy there. But just getting to see him actually convey his love to this woman, and she's been waiting for those words since absolute time. You see, going from the auction, going from seeing from when they reunite after the events of the breakout and all that, from Impel Down, just all those things culminating into that one moment. And this isn't from the Geo front. As I say again, this comes literally straight off of my emulator when I played it the first time for Azure. That man says, and I quote, "You are my one and only girl." Brother, I'll tell you this right now. I took the shirt off. We threw it into the stand. I got the Kobe 10 in the air. I had the Champions League trophies in my hands, bro. I'm like, listen, dude.
I'm the man. I'm the man. Yes,
exactly.
Everybody.
Like, bro. Oh, my God. Tears in my eyes. Knee slide on knee slides. Like, yo, man.
Yo.
Like, it just.
Ronaldo gif.
Oh, my God. Oh, literally, man. Bro. I've never spammed the gif more in my entire life than that moment on the damn ship, bro. And just, oh my God, like, listen to me, man. We know, listen, Joshua, Estelle, they started off with the relationships in there, and, you know, we get all the other ones there, you know, with Reen and his, you know, depending on which one you want to choose from Class 7 specifically. Me, I already have mine, you know, the blonde hair one. But This right here with the blonde hair one without saying these, but listen, but this one right here though, when it comes to the Ellie and Lloyd, bro, like I can't. They just mean the world to me, dude. Especially seeing how they act around with Kia and all that. It's like, bro, they already have one kid in the chamber, bro. Just let's go. Let's just go. Like, just go four more out there, bro. It's time to work the factory. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to those two, man. Just what a beautiful moment in a time of absolute chaos when this world looks like it's about to be in shambles. They just lock in and just say, yo, man, they love each other, bro. Like, it's cinema.
Before we get into the top two, I needed to take a moment outside of the podcast and talk to all of you about something that I hinted at earlier on within the podcast in a one-on-one conversation. And that is, earlier on from my Cold Steel 3 pick, I picked the Lloyd and Reen fist bump scene. That is a scene of legend. And it was very difficult for me to find like a singular moment to represent that game because of how many incredible moments there are. But there's another sequence of events within this game that I just had to shout out in some capacity. I just didn't know if it could be qualified as a moment, but I need to let y'all know that if it was in some way, shape, or form considered anything, it was one of my favorite things in the entire series. And that is Chapter 3 of Trails of Cold Steel 3, alongside with the finale, which of course I believe I talked about in the following segment of the video. But just in case, the following segment of the video is going to cover the end of Cold Steel 3, going into some greatness that happens there. But the thing I really want to talk about here is Chapter 3 of Cold Steel 3, because this to me is like, you know, when you're experiencing something and it feels like it was specifically made for you, it just resonates with you on such a personal level. This chapter, with all of the incredible instructor Reen sequences, the Reen, Ash, and Muse conversation, you got a Sarah and Reen moment. You have a boys and girls night out in Raquel. Those are my favorite. Wall Market and Trails, bro. I mean, that's my jam. You know what I'm saying? Dude, it was like me reliving my childhood through Final Fantasy VII inside of Trails. You have Wall Market with the whenever Reen goes out with Claire and with Sarah and with Angelica, and they all go out, they meet Rutger, they play cards. I was like, bro, this is my jam. And then in that very same type of sequence, you have the legendary encounter between Reen and Arianrod, which is one of the coolest things ever, because we know that Arianrod back in Trails to Azure, the hardest boss in the entire series until that point, that took all the SSS just to get her mask cracked. And then she gets another health bar for you to take on the actual enemy. It's the coolest boss, right? So dope. But then, in this game, Reen is like, yo, it spent the entire game up until this point, not gonna go ogre mode. It is one of the most consistent things throughout the course of the story, especially after the Civil War. It's one of my favorite things about the first half of that game is how they continue to tackle it. Now, obviously, when it gets into the finale, and they just did a phenomenal job with the ogre stuff in that game in particular, and how they handled the execution of that. But right here, saying screw all of that, I'm in front of Doobs and Arianrod. I gotta show out. Goes in, he might call Valimar. Arianrod's like, no. None of that. I want to see you one-on-one. I gotta run the ones with you. Because I know you. We didn't know. Right? But she knew. She knew who she was dealing with. And so she goes up right up and like Stormar is like, yo, Ash and Awaken, let's throw hands. Reen goes over to Juno's like, yo, hold this. The thing that Emma made specifically to control the ogre. No. We don't need that. He's like, I've always wanted to test myself against a legend. I almost knocked over the camera. I've always wanted to test myself against a legend. Are you kidding me? Ogre mode. Go in, throwing hands. Now, granted, we got whooped, but it's the thought that counts. We started throwing hands, man. And it was peak. I was like, yo, this is shonen. real shonen. And then when we cut over and we get, like I said, the incredible moment with Rin and Ash, that truly, I mean, up until that point, obviously, I was already enamored with this character, especially after the events of Cold Steel 2. But that was the moment where I was like, it clicked 150-fold, and exactly what he told Ash is what I needed to hear in my personal life. So, like, that really, really struck. And as the developments continue, the mysteries continue with Ash and with Muse, it's like, bro, this is speaking to me. I really, really rock with this, especially now that the dynamic of the entire new Class 7 is really starting to hit its stride here. I just loved it. And like I said, you get that incredible Raquel boys and girls night out, which is, God, I can't even tell you how much I love that kind of stuff in my JRPGs. It's why the auction I talked about earlier in Zero, as well as, like I said, Walmart and Final Fantasy 7, like that type of stuff really hits at the beginning of Final Fantasy 9. Like, I really dig that stuff, man. And so to end the chapter off on an invasion on Arin Road's fortress, similar to the invasion of Shinra headquarters, and you go back to the beginning of the game and you have full context now, but it's Rin and Aurelia Leroy versus Arin Road in a clash of legend. I think still my favorite boss fight, just off of rawness alone. I mean, bro, you've got legends throwing down. You have the future Pirate King and Rin Schwarzer with the current strongest in the verse in Aurelia fighting the strongest of the past. It's like, bro, the strongest of all time versus the strongest of now. Got the strongest of the future. Watch it. I mean, bro, does it get any more real shonen than that? And it's just, you bring back Unfathomed Force. I was losing my mind. You were losing your mind. I was like, yo, this is big. This is big, man. That chapter means so much to me on many different levels. It speaks to my tastes as a human being and what I love in my stories, as well as who I am as a person. I love Trails of Cold Steel 3, Chapter 3. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, love that chapter with everything I have, man. And with everything I have. With everything. It's so good. But touching on the finale of Cold Steel 3 is the hardest that any finale has ever hit me in anything in regards to from a cliffhanger standpoint. Obviously, there's other endings that have hit me harder emotionally, but that one legit, I was like staring at my wall for hours after I finished the game, bro, and I didn't have CS4 after. So like, that is one of the crazy, and it's the way that everything goes down. You have Spiral of Erebos leading you in. You got a Box McBurn and Arin Road at some point here in this final stretch, man. It's crazy. It's so much craziness happening. Ash stuff, Jorg, flipping mother of Flagnar. It's like, who in the world saw that coming? So like, all this is going down. You spiral towards the end after the meeting with the Emperor and all that stuff. But then you have everything culminating after all this setup. And it's like, bro, what in the world's gonna happen here? And like I said, man, going back to the real shonen stuff, when you have all the giant divine knights coming down, you have people dying left and right. I was like, what is going on, bro? And then Rin goes full hollow like he's Ichigo. I was like, yo, what is happening, bro? And it was... Then Osborne delivers the line of legend. Cut to black. No Cold Steel 2. I was waiting, bro. I was like, nah, man, they ain't gonna leave me like that. I remember Cold Steel 2. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, I was waiting for, okay, they're about to hit me with a divertisement. We're about to cut over and see what's going on or something. The game ended. And I was like, what are we doing? I mean, I know it was a long behind game, right? But it's like, no, you can't end it there. Cut to black again. Again. But this time there is no divertisement, bro. I was shook. I was like, there's no flipping way. And listen, I know there was people that were on that cliffhanger for like years. It only took me like a month before Cold Steel 4 came out. And I was dying every day. Like, bro, I need to find out what happens, man. And that leads us into...
Great pick, dude. I was not expecting that, like, but it's such a Lazcore pick. It really is. I was like, yo, that is the ultimate Lazcore knee slide pick. I love that so much. It really is,
dude.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude. So, my number 2, this is the one that I cheated in the most. From the moment that I started this, I was like, there's no way. I told Laz off air
I was like, bro, when we get to Cold Steel 4, I'm going to mention multiple moments because if not, just like with how we have like 5 SCs between both of us, it would have been 5 Cold Steel 4s just by me alone.
Oh yeah,
because this game has so many incredible moments. So I'm going to pick 3, and I'm going to talk about them just brief.
そんな風に全部を自分だけで片付けようとして、私たちや先輩たちの気持ちも少しは分かってください。
邪魔をするつもりか。
足りねえだろ。どんなヤバい状況かは知らねえが、あんたはそうじゃねえだろ。似合ってねえんだよ、どこまでもな。
ですが、それが教官が背負ったものであるなら、どうか少しずつでも私たちに肩代わりさせてください。
バンダールの剣は守護にして覇者検証の剣。あなたから教わった全てをそこに込めてお返しします。
リーン教官、私はやっとここまで来られました。作られただけの私があなたやミリアムさんに導かれて、ユーナさん、クルトさん、ネゼさんにアッシュさん、先輩方と一緒に。だから誓います。この暗くて空っぽな地の底からあなたとミリアムさんを取り戻すと、みんなを守るお姉ちゃんの意志をあなたを含めた全員で果たすためにも。
上等だ、ぶちかましてやら。
私たちの全力受け止めてもらいます。
First one being Fragments, the Fragments chapter, where you go in to save Reen. In particular, there's a stretch. This is already like one of the greatest chapters in Trails history, but there's a stretch in there where Juna, Altina, Muse, Ash, and Kurt pull up, and Reen is right there. This is the first time that they've seen him since they've attempted to come save him. And the opening, Ashita no Kiseki starts playing, and all 5 of them deliver phenomenal speeches, ending off with Altina's like, "Yo, no matter what, we will be there. No matter what, I'm bringing you back." And it doesn't. Oh man, tears in my eyes. I was like, Altina, that is my daughter right there. These are my children. We're bringing Reen back. Phenomenal boss fight, and then it is immediately followed by one of the most emotional moments in the series, where everybody combines from all over Erebonia to bring Reen back, to make him realize, I am Reen Schwarzer of Class 7. And one of the greatest moments, with even if the warmth is small, playing in the background, one of the greatest soundtracks. And the Million Valimar scene is just so good. I love that scene so much. That probably would have been number 2 if I couldn't have cheated. I probably would have put this there. But because I can't cheat, then that is followed by in Act 2. And at the end of Act 2, you have the meeting of the MCs, man, where you have Estelle, Lloyd, and flippin' Reen all meeting each other on the ship, dude.
Just a goat off, bro. That's all it is, a goat off.
It is a hockey off, bro, and it's like you get some of the greatest. I mean, that's what Trails is all about right here, bro. And then Cassius and Chloe show up too, and it's just non-stop emotional moments, and you get the handshake of handshakes with Reen and Lloyd after so long. It was like the most anticipated one. That is the iconic shot of Trails. Bro, it's like,
and the fact that you go with that handshake too, with the fact that this man Reen, like I'll never forget it. Just like playing it the first time, it's just like you see the hand being extended, you see the down view of the camera looking up at Reen, and you see the look on his face like, I don't think I have the right to shake your hand. And I just stand up. I'm like, Coach, we can't do this, Coach. We can't do this, Coach. And
then Lloyd gives the speech.
Bro, and then it's like, bro, if any other person in this world would have had words to say to Reen, but if anyone could understand the position that Reen was in that moment, it was going to be Lloyd. And that brother he let him cut a shoot promo and said, yo,
that's right.
I get you, brother, but listen, we got a war to fight. You're my dog.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God. Yo.
Dude, and then right after Lloyd cuts the promo, then Reen hits him with "Let's get over that barrier together." I was like,
yes,
"Yeah, he used his own slogan.
Yes,
He used the catchphrase."
They're using their own
like,
finishers. It's like, oh my god, that's what it is, bro. It's like, hit the rock bottom, hit the stutter, like it don't matter.
Yeah, come on, this is peak fiction, bro. And then like, and all three of them, just Estelle, Lloyd, and Reen, just have a phenomenal moment here. And and I love that scene so much. Anytime that somebody I'm watching go through the Trails games gets to that scene, I always watch their reactions to it because it's just so good. And the last one I have to shout out is the very, very end of the game for the true ending, where number one, you say bye to Valimar, which the Reen Valimar dynamic is one of my favorites in the entire series. So when Valimar tells him, like, I was proud to be your partner, it was amazing to see the way that to see the man that you've become. And even though I can't feel emotions, like I feel warm inside seeing the man you've become. I was like, Valimar, stop, bro! You're making me cry here, dog. Like, I love that dynamic so much. And so when you follow that incredible moment up, obviously, like you said earlier, with the Reen Osborne stuff and the true ending where they all come into the portal, and it's just absolute peak fiction zenith cinema. But you get the very, very end of the game with the wedding. It had been like foreshadowed / we'd been looking forward to it since the end of Sky the Third, where Olivier posed the question, and Shara never said never. It was like, okay, like, I might give you an answer someday, and she gave that man the answer, and we got the greatest credits in the history of video games here at the end of Cold Steel 4. And it was just all of that. Like, when I finished, even before I got to the Grandmaster stuff that comes after, when I finished those credits, I was like, this is the only series I have on the level of One Piece in my heart. I was like, bro, I love this series with every fiber in my being, man. Like Cold Steel 4 is moments to the video game. There's like I said before, if I had like a top 25 moments of all time in any story, Cold Steel 4 has like 5 of them in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's so many great moments in that
counting the
game.
rest of the series, everything else just counts in there. But like 4 itself, bro, it's just like, and especially like, dude, the fact that Ayn is in the credits to a wedding. Like, tell me if your series got a character like that on that kind of peak of being there, just enjoying cake and stuff. Like, what have you been doing? I'm just having cake. You know, like,
bro, they had Zin and Kevin and Rias in there as well, even though they weren't in the game. It's like, bro,
exactly, bro.
So much hockey.
Like, oh my god, that is such a great scene.
Yeah, bro, like all. God, they cooked with that wedding scene, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
But Laz, we were down to the Now You Feel Like number one, shining bright for everyone, man. I am so excited to see. I think I know what your number one is, but I'm excited to see what it actually is.
So it's crazy because you've already given the build up to it happening already with like the handshake and all that and everything. But my number one comes in Hajimari.
Let's go! Mine too!
It's the moment where I'm just like, bro, he's been my MC. But the lead up to this moment happening was like, yo, you are the MC. Go out there and go handle it. And after that conversation that needed to be happening with Ishmael Gareen in Hajimari, I am talking about the fist bump between Lloyd Bennings and Ishmael Gareen. That to me right there is Trails. Like, you could say any moment in the story, it's Trails, but that moment right there, it's bro. Lloyd has that relationship with Reen. We know him going all the way back to Cold Steel 2. You know, when the first time they linked up, they clashed, they went to battle and stuff, but there was an understanding between the two. And then that understanding grew through in Cold Steel 3 when you get, you know, the window-to-window moment in the train as they're departing Crossbell. And then going into Cold Steel 4 where they're finally on the ship, all the goats gathering together, but, you know, the two head honchos there, the Rock and Stone Cold of that era, just finally having that conversation, talking to each other, just shaking hands. But then you remember, of course, what happens with Ishmael Gareen, you know, and the divergence that are there, and, you know, you gotta take him out. You gotta get him out of there and stuff at the time. But if there's only one person in this world that was more fitting at that time to say a proper goodbye to Ishmael Gareen, was Lloyd, because he understood that time of Reen's life where things were so bad and dark and everything, and that was the one that got consumed by the malevolence and all that. And for him to be there in that moment and give him the partings and saying, yo, don't worry, we got you. And that man could have revealed the One Piece right there and then to this man. But he says, yo, I'm a type of guy that likes to know at the end when I've gone searching for myself. So just that moment, and then how it leads into the Rufus confrontation at the very end, where he says, "Yo, you have the right to remain silent," and you think you say it will go against you in the court of law. Like, my man just going full into SSS mode.
So peak.
It's like, bro, if that moment right there was all I needed to tell me that Lloyd would always be my number one goal, bro, listen, he was already my goal by the time I got him on the train in Zero. That right there has to be the culmination of him, and then him being the one delivering the speech after all that. Bruh, just what a special character. What a fist bump. That fist bump right there, I could be going through a bad day, but I know that even if I'm going to war with somebody, if I look at that image of the fist bump and the faded thing of Ishmael Gareen disappearing into the oblivion and stuff, that will get me through the day all the time when I look at it. So the fist
100%.
bump of legend, Lloyd and Ishmael Gareen, peak fiction.
This is why I'm so glad that we did this, Laz, because I have the exact same thing, but on the other side. So, like, you had the Lloyd scene with Ishmael Gareen. That was absolutely legendary. My number one from Trails into Reverie / Hajimari is Reen versus Ishmael Gareen. Which, dude, like, so going off of what you were saying with Lloyd, everything in the entire franchise, specifically on Lloyd's side of things, was culminating there with his sequence with Ishmael Gareen and with Rufus, where he's going completely full MC mode on both of them, and it is beautiful and glorious to see. Reen versus Ishmael Gareen is one of the most powerful things I've ever experienced in any story. This is a personal one for me, because obviously it's the reflections of oneself, literally, that I love so much in my stories. But similar to what I said earlier with Azure, Trails always takes it a step further. When we got the normal ending for Cold Steel 4, I was like, I wonder what they're cooking there, because this is a franchise that does nothing for no reason. And so for them to call back to the normal ending, give us a main antagonist that was the Reen of that timeline, seeing that character interacting with all the characters that failed to save him, and now we come face to face with the current version of Reen, who, as he quote stated, if it was just if he was just a bit unluckier, that could have been him on the other side of things. We get the moment that culminates Reen's entire character arc, where he finally chooses between his purpose and his happiness, and that he truly deserves to be happy, and that if he would have attempted to do something like that, or whatever the case may be, that it would have affected everyone around him. It would have, like, these individuals would have missed him. Like, even though he and his father are both individuals that are self-sacrifice themselves, that would have hurt the others around them. And so he would rather do the selfish thing for himself and for the others that he loves, for his loved ones, and live on, because that's what he knows his loved ones would want, because that's what he would want from his loved ones. And it's such a powerful scene with the two of them in the mirror world, as I call it, where we finally get that last sequence, because obviously in Cold Steel 4 he had to face himself to gain the Divine Blade title, and then he had to do it again at the very end of the game whenever he finally took out Pride from or what was that thing from Fullmetal? The flask. It did take out the flask.
Homunculus, yes.
Yeah, the homunculus. At the very end of the game with Ishmelga. So whenever this happened again, and he had to strike himself down, it was really powerful, because it was sort of like Trails culminating as an entire whole there, where he was taking out that version of himself. But obviously Ishmelga wasn't done yet. He had to go have that moment with Lloyd after that. But it was so powerful to see that, and it impacted me a lot. It was one of those one of the major reasons, that moment and the moment from Cold Steel 3 where he talks to Ash and Muse in chapter 3, that like truly made me want to go back to class and school and go in on my craft, where I was like, man, this Reen guy, he's a special character, and it's obviously he's my favorite character, so it's similar to you with Lloyd, a lot of bias over here with Mr. Schwarzer, but There's a moment that takes place a little after this in a door that connects to this entire sequence, but it's the Reen and Osborne door. Where Osborne goes back through like the entire journey leading into the end of the game, and we see how he viewed everything and how he truly tried to do so much for his son. And we get that final iconic shot of him holding Reed. It's the family photo. But what I love so much about that, right before that takes place, and Reen is thinking about like how he can repay Osborne for everything he's done for him. We hear Yuna, Muse, Kurt, Ash, and Altina in the background, like talking and starting their day, and it's like, okay, no, that's how I can repay him, by living on. And it connects to that moment he has with Ishmael Gareen, where it's like, that's how I can repay you as well, Ishmael Gareen, by living on with those that you truly loved as well. And so it's such a powerful, powerful scene. The ending of Hajimari is like the pinnacle for all three of the protagonists of that game. For Rufus, for Lloyd, and for Reen. They all have like their greatest, finest hour in that final sequence. Which, by the way, shout out to Rufus and the Picnic Squad. I really wanted to include some like the Law Piece Rufus stuff. So good. But man, number one for me, I already knew that was gonna be number one, but it's so cool that both of us picked like the same moment but mirrored. We're like Ishmael Gareen's moment with Lloyd and Ishmael Gareen's moment with Reen. Ishmael Gareen is him. Yeah, bro. What a legend.
If you had him in the top 10, there'd be no problems, because brother, that is Reen, but corrupted, but found peace, bro. You know what it is, bro? It's like, that's like, they don't like the punished big boss and stuff, but that's literally what every Reen to us is, like our big boss in a way, man. So like, oh my god, bro. Like, man.
Absolute greatness, bro.
What a franchise.
What a franchise, dude. Like, I can't say enough about the fact that we said all the moments that we did, and yet there's still so many moments that we could have covered.
Too many.
But man, Laz, like, God, this is a fun time, bro, looking back on all these moments.
Yeah.
God,
really
man.
Was.
There's just something really special about this series where it has these moments, like the fact that you and I were able to call back to some of these, and in certain instances call back to exactly where we were when we were experiencing them, is kind of like man, it really left an impact on us, like a strong impact.
For sure, and especially for you and me, because like we always been, I feel like you were the same way as well, is that when we got into One Piece, right, and we finished it towards its end, we're like, we want to experience that next story that made me feel the exact same way One Piece did. And I've gone on and experienced so many incredible things since I caught up with One Piece at the end of Punk Hazard, and just seeing all the great things that are out there. This right now has been easily the closest that I've ever felt to that first love of One Piece that I have right here with Trails. And I know the hard part is, like, you know, we're nearing the end of the journey too, apparently. You know, we're like 70, 75, 80% done, apparently, right? So knowing that's going to be coming to an end is going to be the tough part. But the fact that we got into this series when we did, whether if it was, you know, for some people in 2004 with FC, or where we are right now with Kai on the horizon next month, the journey that we've been on with this, man, if the landing sticks with this ending, like, it's, bro, whatever Mount Rushmore you make over time, hundreds of centuries, could be the next species of humans. I'm telling you right now, whether if it's Estelle, whether if it's going to be Lloyd, whether if it's going to be, you know, Reen, whatever it's going to be Vaughn, whatever it's going to be the next guy after him is going to be on this mountaintop and stuff. That's never going to change. That's other members of the Four will change, but that will never change. They'll all just put all of them there, and you'll know you just experienced peak cinema.
That's right. I couldn't have said any better myself. Like, this is, as we're seeing, and like you just perfectly stated, something that whether you got into it in 2004 or you're getting into it today, it has universal moments that resonate with each individual person. And so whether they're experiencing it when the aliens take over in like 3000,
exactly,
or when Mount Rushmore gains like a couple more heads, the fact remains that whatever we have left in this series, I have so much trust in them to pull it off because they have already done it time and time again. The fact that we had moments on this list from almost every entry in the franchise tells us that they are continuing to cook at the highest level.
And there's so many that are off the list that we didn't get either, too. It just, again,
exactly.
when you see for yourself, you're like, oh my god, it really has 1 billion and, something moments that can easily fit into a top 10 list, so.
Yeah, man. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the top 10 favorite Trails moments. Man, I can't even begin to tell y'all how excited I was to make this. Now that we finished it, it's like, man, I wouldn't change it for the world, dude. Like, this is exactly what I wanted to do with the good brother. But Laz, first and foremost, thank you so much for making time to do this. Absolutely.
Yeah, bro. And it was an absolute honor just being here, just finally talk about the series. We've been meaning to do this for a long time.
Yes, sir.
We finally got around to doing it now, and hopefully this won't be the last time we do talk about it. I feel like there are many things still, the series, even from moments, characters, like whatever it could be. You want to have the conversation, I'm here.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you for that, man. Where can the good people find you? At this point in time, you're obviously covering some series that are entering some absolute insane stretches. Some in their finales. Some of them about to enter another section of their finales. So where can the good people find you?
Well, if I give you the heel answer in the form of Shaquille O'Neal, Google me, Chuck. But to give you the babyface answer, over on YouTube at Commodore Laz, I normally talk about One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm going to be bringing back my coverage of the Dandadan manga, as hopefully with the anime for Dandadan when it comes out October 4th. And then probably some other stuff we'll be talking about in the meantime from there. But if you ever want to get my immediate thoughts on anything and everything, whenever it comes to games, manga, anime, sports, all that, you can go on Twitter. I will not be calling it by the name it's currently going by because we've always known it as Twitter at Commodore Laz. You go there for my thoughts on that. But yeah, I mean, from the YouTube side stuff, just One Piece JJK, and then hopefully with Dandadan, and then we will be going from there. And it would be good if we get a conversation after Kai or even Daybreak 2. I think it would be something nice to just go through our own journey of the game and stuff. I feel like that's something that I definitely missed out on talking about when I was catching up with the series, not talking about that. So it would definitely be dope to be able to get something like that out there. But stay tuned for that.
Oh, dude, yeah, that would be awesome. Like, whenever you finish either Daybreak 2 or we both finish Kai, that would be an amazing discussion.
It really would. That I tell you right now, the length time of this will bear in comparison to the one we're gonna have for Kai. You'll know what true length is. Like,
that's right. It's gonna be the equivalent of if whatever happens in post Egghead actually ends up happening. We'll then also have to make a discussion like that.
We're about to learn about the voice industry. Like, this is it's real, brother.
Yeah, dude, crazy stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been our top 10 favorite Trails moments. Once again, please leave me your favorite Trails moments in the comments section down below. Very much looking forward to seeing all of your lists. As you guys saw, Laz's list and my list, even though there was a little bit of overlap in regards to certain sequences, they were almost entirely different because of the amount of incredible moments that are in this franchise. And so I can't wait to see the moments that resonated with all of you. And please be as honest with yourself as possible and dig deep and think about what truly makes this series for you. And so very much looking forward to hearing your favorite moments. Let me know if there's any other topic that you would like to see discussed on the channel for the Trails Greatness, whether it be ranking the games or ranking the characters, or whatever the case may be. We will be there no matter what. But that is it from us on our end. Hope all of you have an awesome day. Take care. Like I said earlier, Trails in the Sky, the first, coming out in 2025. Trails Through Daybreak 2, officially releasing early next year. And then the Japanese version of Kai no Kiseki is releasing September 26th, 2024. That'll be it from us here. Thank you very much, Laz, for being here. Have an awesome day. Signing out from WrestleMania 41. Let's go, baby!
Bye-bye!